Hello and welcome back to my craft room. In today's video I'm going to finish up the project I started a week or so ago, where I was making up a set of matching book pillows and a little kind of lap quilt stroke chair back stroke mini picnic blanket. It'll make more sense as I go along, which I'm making for my friends using some scraps of fabric that came out of her mum's craft room or crafty stash, and also some bits and pieces thrown in from my own stash. So this is kind of how it's looking at the moment. That's upside down because that's the only way I can hold it. Let me take you to the desk and I'll show you where I've got to. Explain a bit more in case you missed the first video. I'll link to the first video anyway. I think I need to pull this camera out a little bit. This will be the front of my book pillow or book cushion. This is where you would tuck in your book, your phone, your crossword and your pen or whatever. I've finished doing all of the kind of canter style stitching across both pieces. So this one isn't quilted in any way, it's just got the backing fabric, and that gives it that, and the stitching gives it enough substance, I think. This piece has got the thin kind of cotton batting on the back. So if I show you the back, there we go, you can see the stitching. I could have machine quilted it and stitched in the ditch or whatever, but I thought this would look a bit more personal and handmade. At the bottom I've just done, as you can see, just a grid of stitches there. That won't really show, that will be inside the pocket, but you know, it will show a little bit. So then I'm lining up the squares so that this piece is laid over so that the two squares are still matching up and patchworking nicely together, and you can just see the binding there to indicate where the pocket is. Now that those are all ready to go, I can add my binding. So that I will do that by, I will match up the raw edges like that, seam down here and press that back. The way I'm going to do it is the first two strips, this one and this one, I will trim to there so they're level with the edges there and there. And then the other two strips going this way, I'll run all the way across like that. So the whole thing will be enclosed. I'll explain that a bit more as I go along. So that will be, I'll go to the machine and do that in a minute and come back and show you. I've also got this last little snippet of this fabric, which is one of the ones from the mum's stash. So this I've just folded it over and I'm going to seam down there to make a tube, and this will become the handle. So that will be placed there. Well, I'll put it on that way, and I will enclose that when I put the back on. So to make the back, I've got one plain piece in this same fabric, this one. And funny enough, this fabric came out of another mutual friend's. I think it was their sisters, well, and their mum's stuff they were clearing out. So yeah, so I'll put it kind of like that. I'll put this over the top. This is a little bit big. It will need to be trimmed a little bit, but so that they'll go together like that. Let's show you the right way up first. And then it's going to be an envelope back. So this is going to be the other half, and I've already cut another little strip of the fabric that came from their mum's craft room. And that I will sew all along here and then turn it under and wrap it over like that to create a binding again, and probably just top stitch that by hand, just do a little running stitch maybe, I don't know, I haven't decided yet. I could machine it, but yeah. So to put these on, I'll need to put them right sides together. I need to make sure this is over the top because I like the look of that, so I will need to put it together like that, and then I'll stitch all around, turn it right way out, and we'll be done. And then I've just got to do the same with the second cushion, but I'll come back in a minute and show you the sort of stages of putting that one together. For the quilt, so just to explain a bit more about the quilt in case you didn't see that bit. So this is the okay, so if we come back up here in a minute. So I was hoping this was going to be big enough to be like a lap quilt, you know, for putting over your knees in the cooler evenings or whatever, if you're out reading your book in the garden, you know. autumn days, you know. But it hasn't come up as big, you know. I didn't allow for the fact that with all the seams, stitching all the squares together, you were going to lose a lot of the width, obviously. But it's still big enough to either go over the back of a chair to make the back of a chair a little more comfortable, or you could put, if you were sitting on a hard bench, if I add some wooding to it, it would make a nice comfy place to rest your back or your bum. And I think probably I will arrange it so that it will roll up, and I'll enclose a tie at one end so that you can tie it together, and then it could be carried like that. I think that's probably the best idea. So I've got another piece of that blue fabric to use for to back that with, and what I'm thinking I'm going to use, rather than go out and buy wadding specially, I've got this, which, let me show you, go back to the desk so I can show you. I've been hanging on to this for a little while. This was sent to me by, if you're in our Discord group, you know Arile. Now, she had something delivered and it came in this was part of the packaging, so she put a message out in the Discord community, can anybody find a use for this? And I said, oh yeah, I'm sure I can find a use for that. So she sent it to me, and it's just like it's all as far as I can tell, it's a synthetic thing. Sometimes with these packaging things, they kind of horsehair and all sorts of stuff they use, but this seems to be just like a synthetic thing, so I don't see why it wouldn't be washable or anything. So what I'm going to do is cut that to size. It's almost exactly the right size, and I think that will give plenty of thickness just to add a bit of comfort to the back of a chair or a cold bench. So that's what I'm going to try and use, and that'll be a bit more hard work to stitch through, so I won't be doing so many lines of stitching through the layers on this one. But I think for this one I'll just do it a bit like I did here, just that kind of grid of stitches, and I think that will look quite nice and do the job of keeping all the layers together. So yeah, I'm going to have to do, this is too big to do off camera. I'm going to have to take that away, pin all the layers together, so I'll probably layer it together. You can see it's going to be quite nice and chunky. I'll probably, as this is plenty big enough, I'll probably do it like this. Leave a bit of the batting all around, just for now. Do all my stitching through, and then trim the batting down, and add some kind of a binding. I've got quite a bit of the yellow left to the binding. I don't know if I've got enough of this, but I think the yellow could look quite cute. And as I say, I'll just include a little bit of something, either handles at either end again, or I'm quite favouring the idea of, you know, perhaps I could use these pieces and close them in like that, turn them into tubes first and close them like that, so that they're just a couple of ties that will wrap around and tie the whole thing together. I think they look quite nice, all rolled up like that. Yeah, okay, right, I've got a plan. Best laid plans for all that, I know, but it helps to have a plan to start with. So I'm going to go to the machine now and get those bits done. I'll show you a couple of the steps along the way, just in case you're interested. But I should be able to pretty much finish this project up in this video. Obviously the stitching through that little lap quilt thing, cushiony thing, is going to take me a bit longer. I'll probably do that this evening. But in terms of the video, I want to fit all of this into one last video now, so hold on to your hats. I'm going in. I've done the first bit of machining, so I've just added those strips down there. I just pinned these two pieces together and take those pins out now, just to keep them together in the right position while I added the binding. So I stitched that all the way down there, and I'm now going to, and on the other side, and I'm going to trim those both off. I'm going to pull the camera out even more so you can see a bit better what I'm doing. So I'm just going to trim that off level there. Same on this side. And then I've got my little craft iron out. I'm going to press these back nice and flat. And then when I've done that, I can apply on both sides, I can apply the binding to the other two sides. and these will go right the way across. So I think you can kind of see what I'm getting at. So let's do a bit of Since this is the first time I've done anything like this, so I've got no idea what I'm doing. I'm quite pleased with how it's going. Jumping feet first, that's my motto. It's one of my mottos. Embrace the wonk is another. Along with use it or lose it, and finish what you started. Even if you have to start a few other things along the way as well. Okay, so I think I'm going to trim these off, these sides first before I put the other binding. Fold that back out of the way and just trim this level. I've just realised I didn't mean to do that. I meant to leave it padded all the way across, didn't I? Oh. Well, I think I'm going to have to do it the same all around now, otherwise it's going to look odd. Oh, I am stupid sometimes. Yeah, what I meant to do is just level it up there but not back to here. But hey ho, let's do the same all round and then it'll look like I did it on purpose. It'll be fine, everything will be fine. Sunny fabric. Okay, so now I've got those pressed nice and flat. The next strips will go all the way across there. So just line up the raw edges. Probably don't really need to pin it, but so those, and I'll do the same on the other side, and they'll get stitched all the way down to here and then get cut off at that level. And then I should have a kind of frame all the way around it. Once that's done and pressed, I'll be ready to put the back on. I'm almost there. Very excited. So the other thing I've gone through and done is start applying the binding to the top edge of that envelope back, half of the envelope back. So that's all done. So let's give that a press. And I think what I'll do is just turn under a little turning like that and fold it to the back. And then I've got some yellow embroidery cotton I'll use to do the final kind of like a top stitch rather than do it by machine. I like the idea of, you know, adding some more hand stitch, and I just think it makes it a little bit different. Now I'm just wondering, should I fold to that edge there, because that would be easier then to get it uniform. If I just fold it all the way along to that edge, it hopefully will be an even width all the way along. So that's that edge turned under, and now I'll just fold it down so it's just beyond that stitch line there. I think that'll be about right. And I could just machine that, but yeah, just to tie it together with the front, I'll keep going with the hand stitching. I was on the front going to take out that one line of, then you just remembered it. I was going to take out this one line of just straight stitching that I've done and do a blanket stitch, which I could still do. But actually, I'm thinking now it looks okay like that. So there we go. So I will just run a line of running stitch in the yellow all the way along there. Easy peasy. The other half of the back is just plain, but I do need to turn under a hem, so may as well press that while I'm at it. Okay, that'll just be a very small neat hem like that. I'm thinking I might like to do something like a little Y stitch down there or something like that. It could be quite fun. We'll see, we'll see. So those bits are all ready to go. So I also got the handle stitched up. Just need to turn that through. I've got a handy dandy turning tool I can use for this to make life a bit easier. easy was that? I've shown these before, but this is a Prim. This is a set of 3 sizes of turning tools. They come with different sizes of pokey sticks, made by Prim, P-R-Y-N. I reckon you could easily have an experiment with a thick shake straw and a knitting needle and things like whatever you can find around that to see, you know, to see what you've got that you could do the same job with without buying something specially. But that is a really lovely set. I think it cost me just under a tenner, and it's been worth its weight in gold so far. So I think I'm going to leave the seam in the centre there, and that will be on the inside. I will probably add some hand stitching to this as well, just because I love to do it, as well as I think it just adds a little bit of extra personal detail. But I just love to do it, and it will just be again rows of straight stitching, canter style stitching, I think, in this yellow to coordinate with the yellow on the back and in the patchwork. So yeah. And then once that's done, we'll be ready to sandwich everything together. I could do wire stitch on this as well, actually. That could look quite pretty. Should we do a bit of wire stitch on this? Yeah, let's do a bit of wire stitch on this. Turn the iron off for a minute, because I've got some hand stitching to do, and I'll do a little bit of this with you. It's nothing new, but so to do my wire stitch, fly stitch, whatever it's called, I always forget which is which. I'm coming out where I want to start from the back. I've hidden my knot will be at the end here. It'll be all hidden inside the cushion. So and I'm going to come down about half a centimetre, and then I'm going back up and to the left of where I first came out. And now I'm going to go back down again to the right of where I first came out. I'm not going to pull the thread all the way through. What I'm going to do is come back up the bottom of that first stitch and make sure I come out over the loop that I've created there so that it catches like that. And then I can go down for the next stitch, about half a centimetre again. And you can vary the dimensions and shape of this stitch quite a lot to make all kinds of things like leaves and things and different kinds of foliage. So it's quite a fun one. And they look quite nice detached as well to make things like feathers. And yeah, I use this stitch a lot. I love this stitch, whatever it's called. So I'm just going to run a line of this all the way down, I think. I'm coming up now, back up to the top of that downward stitch and to the left. Going back down to the right, again level with the top of the stitch, not pulling all the way through, coming back up at the bottom, oops, of that stitch and pulling it out through over the loop so that it catches like that. I guess it makes sense for it to be called a fly or a wire stitch. They both kind of fit, don't they? So yeah, I'm just going to run that all the way down the centre, and I might do a line of running stitch down either side as well. It's just a little bit of extra detail which I think is quite fun, and because I like doing it, it's not necessary, I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. Right, I've stitched these the second pair of borders on. Let's just take the pins out now. and I think I'll have to trim them the same as I did the others, even though I didn't originally intend to do that. Never mind. Let's at least be consistent. Press those out, and that'll give me my border all the way round. I could do more kind of top stitching there if I wanted to. Don't think I need to though. I think I'm quite happy with the borders like they are. So that's the front of my cushion done now. So I've just got to put the back on. So I have finished stitching along the top edge of my contrast border for that piece, and I've just done a little contrasting yellow running stitch to hem that piece. I'm not sure if I've got enough of an overlap with these. If it feels like when I put it together that it's not enough of an overlap, then I will add a button and buttonhole or something, or ties or something, to make sure it will stay closed. I'll probably have to try it with the filler, with the, the cushion pad in before I decide. And I've also got my handle ready. It should go in there. So obviously these need to go right sides together. Let's put the handle in first. There we go. Yeah, there's not a lot of overlap there really, but it might be enough. As I say, if not, I'll just I'll add a buttonhole or something. But let's see how we go. So now I'm gonna pin this, stitch it all round, and then trim it and turn it inside out, and this will be pretty much done. I might have to pinch a cushion pad from somewhere, pinch one from downstairs just to try it out. Let's take that pin out from there, because otherwise I'll forget it's there and I'll break my sewing machine needle. I've stitched all round. It's not the tidiest job ever. I'm hoping it will look alright when it's turned inside out. I'm just now going to sort of trim everything, neaten everything up. I could still use bias binding on something and finish all these raw edges, or I could just zigzag around to make them a bit safe. I mean, no one's going to see them, but when they wash and take the covers off to wash them. I'm just going to snip across these corners so I can get a nice point when I turn them out. I've reinforced the stitching on all the corners where the handles are, where the handle is, and these bits. I've just done an extra stitch back and forth just to make sure those bits are extra strong. Right, that's it. Okay, now I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I need you to keep your fingers crossed. And we'll see how this looks when I turn it out. I'm going to be so disappointed if it looks awful now. It's been a learning curve, this project, it definitely has. Okay, that looks alright so far. The handle's a bit longer than it needs to be really, but that's okay. It'll be nice for hanging it up by. Okay. I mean, it's not going to be straight and perfect, but I think it looks quite pretty. So there's the pocket, and what does the back look like? I think the back, I think the envelope turning may not have enough of an overlap. I'm going to check it. I'm going to try a cushion pad in it in a minute. But it'll be an easy enough matter to put a couple of ties there or something instead if I think it needs it. Yeah, it looks quite bright and cheerful on the back. I'm going to iron this now, press these all out nicely. And then I'll go and grab a cushion pad and I'll come back and show you how it's looking. Here we go, I'm all done now. As I suspected, I didn't have quite enough overlap on the envelope closure, so it was gapping a little bit. So to stop that, I've added a big button here, made a little loop of some of that leftover this fabric, as you can see. And actually, I'm really glad that happened, because I think that adds a little bit of interest to the back. I think that's quite cute. And here's how the front looks. I've got an 18-inch cushion pad in it, but it's an old one from downstairs that's sort of, you know, compacted a bit, so really probably a brand new 16-inch pad would probably be about right. But I do like them when they're nice and plump because they're nice and well stuffed. This is actually quite flat because it's an old cushion pad I just tried it out with. Let me just show you what it looks like. So here's the back. I do think that's quite cute now, as that's turned out. It's quite cute. And here's the front. And I would pop a little, let's put something in there so that we can see what it would look like if I put a little book in there or something. There we go, let's put that in there. I really like that. I think it's really cute, and I might even make one for myself as well. I think it's a really handy thing to have actually. And whether you end up using the cushion to like prop the book up on, or to snuggle on your lap, or to rest your back on, or whatever, I think it's a really cute thing. I love the idea of, a few people have put in the comments on the last video that they've made these for grandchildren and things. I think it's a lovely idea for kids, a lovely way to give a book as a gift. It's almost like a really fancy gift bag, isn't it? Yeah, I'm really happy with that. And I'm just wondering how to get my thumbnail. I wonder if it'd be better if I've still got the other one to go, obviously. Yeah, I like the back just as much as the front now, actually. So that is it for this video. I will finish the other cushion and the chair back mini quilt thing, whatever you want to call it, and I'll post some photos in the Facebook group and Discord when those are done. But I think for the purposes of this video, that's it. That was quite a little adventure. I've never done one of these before, so I'm quite happy, and I've never really done any proper kind of quilting and patchwork projects like this before, so I'm quite happy with how that worked out. I always like the challenge of working it out as you go along, and as I said earlier, or maybe that was in the previous video, basically this isn't an expert tutorial. It's more a case of, let's have a go at this, and if I can do it, anyone can. So I think I've proved that. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know what you think in the comments, or if you've got any tips and advice. I'm always very happy to accept those and share them. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you again really soon.